Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Home Service Hustle. I'm your host, Jonathan Bannister, and today I'm with a guy who's become a friend at this point. So I'm with Jon Andersen. Jon, welcome to the show, my friend.
Absolutely, bro. And I agree, man. We clicked immediately. You know, you don't find that many people in the world that you just clicked with that quickly. So when you find them, you're always happy you do.
So I met Jon from a morning show that Jon is on now. I got invited onto the show, got to get interviewed a little bit and talk to Jon. And then it was like, yeah, we immediately clicked. The other guy, the other host of the show, Keith, obviously we clicked from a digital AI nerd perspective, but Jon and I, it was like, it was the gym. It was a different angle. And
different click.
Yeah, different click. So, dude, look, you've done it all. You've been a professional bodybuilder, world's strongest man. You've been a pro wrestler. So talk about the early days. Who was Jon growing up, and how did you become all these other titles that you have?
Absolutely, brother. Well, here's the thing. You know, a lot of times people look at me now and they think, oh, man, you must have been this great, young athlete. It's the furthest thing from the truth. I was, I guess to try to, I'll try to put this into a timeline that's not too long, but gives a really good, clean understanding. So when I was young, I had a great family, no issues, loving parents, loving mom. I'm mama's boy to the core. We got a great relationship. Anyway, I didn't even know it until I was later in elementary school. I had a massive learning disability, and it was like, it was so bad I didn't even know that that was the case. All of a sudden, one day, you're sitting there talking to your teacher and your mom, and they're telling you got to go to a different classroom. I'm thinking, oh, great, new friends. Little I realized that classroom was filled with some kids that were not going to live a normal life.
Yeah.
So anyway, this created all sorts of challenges. I'm a slow kid, so now I'm getting picked on. I'm running food for comfort. Now I'm fat. I'm a late bloomer. So I was getting stacked on top of the lockers, turned upside down garbage cans, people spitting on my face in the bus. And I'm not meaning to sound like a victim or a bitch here, because this is the shit right here. That was my biggest blessing, because this period of my life basically forced me to develop two things. You take these two things away from me, I'm working at a 7-Eleven, having trouble working the register right now. So first thing is I had to learn to work twice as hard, because I had to do everything 2-3 times to try to learn it. The second thing was I had a hard time learning the way they were teaching. So I had to figure out ways for me to do things that worked for me, which basically I developed this. The second element is I developed this really powerful problem-solving skill set, which is completely, so you put those two together, that's me. Take them away, you don't even, I didn't do anything that you described. So I basically discovered lifting weights, and it's the first thing I'm good at. And even with my problem-solving skills, like I learned how to do a low bar squat when nobody was even teaching us how to squat. So all of a sudden now I'm like the second best squatter in school, and as a junior. And it's just like everything kind of took off. So I basically took my work ethic and my problem-solving skill set and lived life on my terms, because that's how I was doing early on. So fast forward.
Let me ask you something there, though.
Yeah.
What did you do, or did you have some mentors, or who taught you not to be a victim? Because you had a lot of shit stacked against you there early that you could have very easily worked at the 7-Eleven and been a victim, and it's not fair. Look at my friends; they're smarter.
I think it's a great question, and I think nobody truly knows, but okay. I would say that there's a relationship I have with my mom. She believed in me, and that belief, it's like when somebody believes in you to the point where you believe it, it's easier to believe in yourself. Mm-hmm. So even though I was pathetic, I just felt like there was something better out there for me. And that's about all I can really describe. It's like, and sometimes people have that line in the sand. This is just kind of how things were. And it was almost like, to another extent, I was I was almost like, I was kind of scared. I was running scared. I was fearful because I was picked on. It was this, that. So I was using that fear to my advantage. And when you're scared, you're kind of in that survival, fight, flight mode all the time.
Yeah.
So you're not really, you don't really settle in that. It makes sense. You're fighting or flight. You're running or you're fighting. Mm-hmm. The work at a 7-Eleven would have been complacently given up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it's a great question, and sometimes we don't really have the answers, and we'll chalk that up to another part of my blessing, because it could have very easily worked out that and that being said, probably because I wasn't allowed to have TV. I wasn't allowed to be around the wrong kids. So my mom was extremely selective of what voices were in my ears. Yeah. So I probably wasn't even exposed to that victim mentality, to be honest. Now I think about it.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she understood very quickly that this kid needs some very specific direction. Yeah. And that's what she gave me. So check into college, reading about an 8th grade level. Have to figure out how to graduate college without reading, which is what I did. Here's a perfect example of my problem solving skill set. I go to the bookstore, buy books for my first set of classes. I'm scared to death. It's a stack of books like this. Take the thinnest one, open it up. There's no pictures in here. That's the shit I've been reading, right? So I try to read the first chapter. I spent about 3 hours. The first chapter was basically intro to the goddamn book, right? Which is not that many pages. I got no idea what I read. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to make it like this. So I sit down and I start thinking, this is what I do. How do I figure this out? So I developed this plan. I go to each professor. I said, hey, what percentage of the final, because there's a midterm and a final, what percentage of the grade is in the book? And sometimes they would say, well, you got 80% in the lectures, 200% in the book. Check, done. Go to class, pay attention, take notes, I'll be fine. Because remember, I've learned how to learn my way, and I can fucking hear shit and I can digest, especially if I write it down, right? So some of the classes said, well, some of the professors said you got 60% in the lectures and 40 in the book. Well, now I got to find somebody to have conversations with about that book so I can get some of the information out. This is the way my mind is working. I'm fucking 18 years old. Excuse the language. I'm assuming that's okay.
Oh, fuck yeah.
But that's my brain, right? Graduate college, zero intention of getting a job. No interest in that. At this point, all I want to do is lift weights, and I feel like being a big, strong guy is kind of my destiny, right? And so I go straight into free enterprise. Never even tried. Never been to an interview. Never collected a paycheck in my whole life. Started a business, yeah, never.
To this day. Never worked for anyone.
No, never collected a paycheck.
7-Eleven, and then that was it.
7-Eleven is just what I told myself I didn't want to do if I didn't figure this shit out. Yeah,
You never had a job.
Never had a job.
Holy shit. I've never heard
even in college, I worked for myself. I figured out, I went door to door and fucking, hey, I'll paint your house for $1,500. This is the way my mind works. Okay, I need money. What's the fastest way to get money? Most people, they follow what they were taught. Go get a job. I wasn't following the pack. My brain didn't work that way. I had a hard time keeping up following the pack. So I did it my way. Thank fucking God, because look at my life versus everybody else's.
Yeah.
Anyway, so first business, of course, fails, but I've been failing. I've been told I'm failing and not good enough my whole life. I'm not scared of this shit. First business fails. Actually, a pretty good idea. It was just 2 decades too early. It was meal prep. Unfortunately, this is right when protein powders hit like a fucking freight train. So everybody's leaning away from food into powders. So that failed. Now I'm hungry. I'm literally hungry. I'm broke. The money I have from college is gone. I'm couch hopping. I'm so broke. I got just enough money for gas. This little car doesn't have a second gear. So I'm winding up first, going to third, definitely not going up any hilly streets, and I'm so hungry. I have to go to grocery stores, and I'll walk around and eat shit when I'm in the store and then leave. I was feeding myself at least a meal a day that way.
Okay.
Anyway, so I need to make some money here. Well, in college, remember, I was door to door. I could make $1,000 a week easily doing door to door. I was like, $1,000 a week sounds like a dream right now, So I basically started a painting company, completely illegal, no insurance, no nothing. I literally just fucking went out and started knocking on fucking doors. Got a couple of jobs, right? As soon as I got the jobs, then now I got to find some people to paint this for me. So I was literally you hear entrepreneurs saying, okay, don't even worry about it till you make a sale. That was me. I got 2 jobs, and I got to figure out who I got to hire some people to do this. That's the way I was going. So first year, completely illegal. Did great though. Fuck, I wasn't hungry anymore. Had plenty of time to train and continue to chase my dreams. But I realized very quickly, okay, this thing is not going to run itself. I'm growing. I got all these employees, and I'm in my early 20s, and I got guys that are 40, and I'm like, I got to give them loans. I got to talk to them about their kids. I got to talk to them about their wives. It's like, I don't have the life experience to be helping you with this shit, but I got to pretend like I do because I got to keep them happy so they stay at work. So I realized very quickly, this is not going to manage itself. I got to sell this bitch. So I just kept the throttle down, kept growing it. 25 employees, 5 years later, sold the thing for $500,000 and fucking Pam. And we're talking this is the late 90s. This is way before the internet and shit. This is kind of unheard of stuff, right? But that's the way I've lived my whole life. So right about that time, I had competed as a strongman, and I became cock strong at this time. I'd competed, went to a national, won my pro card, went to a pro qualifier, qualified for nationals, placed high enough in nationals. So it's now my fourth or fifth ever strongman competition. I'm traveling internationally. Again, I'm just problem solving my way through this shit.
Yeah.
I got this wad of dough. I'm a pro strongman. I'm traveling the world. The real estate market is crushing. So I started a real estate company. I mean, this is just the way my mind works. It's most people would, I can't do this. I can't do that. I don't have that shit in front of me. I don't see the challenge. I see the reward. Challenge is more of what someone in the middle sees. I don't see the problem like a normal person.
Right. Yeah.
I don't see the hurdle. I just see the reward, right? When you start to see a challenge or other problem, that's the middle stage, right? Once you don't see anything in front of you but the reward, that's where you want to be. Anyway, so now I'm a pro strongman, crushing. This is during the .com, so there's just money everywhere. These startup companies are like, I had a sponsor for an energy drink that never even made it to market. They were paying me $4,000 a month to wear a t-shirt. It was fucking beautiful. And keep in mind, this is like early 2000s, which was a fair amount of dough for wearing a t-shirt every day,
Hell yeah.
So anyway, great strongman career, had a back surgery. At that point I had agents. We were doing commercials and shit. I was on a 2006 Super Bowl commercial. He says, look, the surgeon says, you go back to the circuit, you're going to be back on this table again in 6 months. So we're going to stick you, we're sending you to Japan to wrestle. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, there's a lot of money over there. I said, okay. Well, so we taught me how to learn. It's a dance. So I sent me to this school. I learned how to do it. And, we had me do a bunch of shitty high school gymnasium wrestling matches. It was called the indie circuit. So we could film me. He completely fraudulates a resume. He was a hustle like me. Keep in mind, I say agent, he wasn't representing the big four sports. He was kind of a, more of a, high major, like AAA baseball and Japanese baseball and guys like me, Anyway, so he makes his resume. We send some shit over there. And next thing you know, boom, I got a fucking shot. So now probably not even my 10th match, 7th or 8th, maybe 9th match is in Sapporo, Japan at a pay-per-view. And again, man, I'm just problem solving. Okay, how do I keep this? As long as I don't fuck this match up too bad and I keep these guys standing up yelling, they're going to want to, because it was a trial. If I did well, they were going to contract me. If I didn't, that was it. I was exposed. My wrestling days were over. And so I just problem solved my way through it. I went and had a couple of good enough matches to get signed. Now I'm a pro wrestler in Japan. And keep in mind, I got my real estate company going. This is my mind. I don't see all the bullshit that stops people. I'm not afraid to take the first step. I'm way past the fear of failure because I've been failing my whole life up to that point of saying, fuck it, here I go.
Yeah.
Well, 42 years old to get released, and an amazing time in my life, Tokyo Dome matches, 50,000 people, crazy shit. Come home. And, I'm a little butthurt because, you don't like it when someone's taken from you, but they just didn't renew me. And well, shit. I guess I'll try.
What was the wrestling name?
Strongman. Because the Japanese love legitimacies. I was a legitimate strongman. So that was it. I was Jon Strongman Andersen, which was just they just love legitimacy. So now I'm home. I'm 42 years old. Well, shit, I'm gonna be a pro bodybuilder. And of course, I'm hearing the same thing. For pro strongman, you can't do that. For pro wrestling, you can't do that. For pro body, you can't. I've been hearing this shit my whole life. You know what I say? You might be right, but I'm gonna try anyway.
No.
And first contest, win. Go to a national second contest, win. I'm a pro bodybuilder in 2 contests. Third ever bodybuilding contest, my pro debut. I'm standing next to Johnny Jackson and Cedric McMillan. It's like, holy shit, bam. I podium on my first ever pro show, 3rd competition. I had a great bodybuilding career. I can't complain with that. Opened a gym. That's what a pro bodybuilder does. Open a gym. My coaching business spawned from that, which really brings us to current, where my gym spawned my coaching business, and my coaching business now turned into more of a mentoring business. And this is where I truly have found my purpose, where changing people's lives, helping people do what they didn't think was possible, is what gets me up at 2:59 every day before my alarm goes off. And I'll never retire. I just won't wake up one day.
How old are you now, John?
There's our timeline, brother. 53 years old.
53. You're in some phenomenal shape. Like what are the specs of 53-year-old John today?
Oh shit. Well, back in the day I claimed to be 6 foot, but I was never quite there. After back surgery and lifting a lot of heavy shit, I would venture to say I might not even be 5'11" anymore, because we get shorter as we get older.
Yeah.
So
okay.
And I'm actually in the process of dialing back some body fat right now. So I'm about 265, I believe.
Okay.
Normally I'm about 75-ish. But as I get older, it's just slowly creeping down. I mean, of course, I try to stay as big as I can, but that's the natural progression. We start off shitting in our pants. We end up shitting in our pants, So I'm past that peak, But funny enough, I actually, as an entrepreneur spirit, I shouldn't say just started, but recently started a peptide company. And some of the new technologies behind these peptides has been real. It adds such a massive element into how I can change people's lives. Let me give you a perfect example. My own life was the first one that I changed through this whole thing. As peptides develop, I started to realize, holy shit, some really cool stuff going on here. But more importantly, I had to locate really good suppliers, because that's the thing. You can buy a peptide and you might not be getting shit in that bottle because it's not regulated.
Right.
So, as a fat little boy, from getting picked on and eating, I've developed, I've got an addictive personality to begin with. My first addiction was sugar, right? I had many addictions going through my athletic career, painkillers and all sorts of shit, but that's a different topic. But ultimately, I've got food noise. I've had it my whole life. I'm not hungry. 8 o'clock at night, stand in front of the fridge with the doors open. God knows we all been there. What am I going to eat? It's got nothing to do with hunger. It's got to do with entertaining or dopamine hits. It's that addictive mentality. Well, there is a peptide that I currently use, and I'll probably use it for the rest of my life. Turn that fucking voice off of my head like a light switch.
Really?
Now, most people think, that's amazing. It'll be easier for you to stay lean. Of course it is. But that's just the small part of this. About a month goes by and I realize, holy shit. What I'm realizing is that about 20 to 25% of my mental bandwidth was used to manage that fucking voice. Well, now that's gone, I have so much more of me to give to what I want to. We often will go in the hot tub after dinner, right? And in many cases, I'm in the hot tub and I'm sitting there thinking about the food that I shouldn't be eating when we get out of the hot tub. And I'm really not present with her. Brother, now that voice is gone. I'm completely present. Talk about a fucking change of quality of life. Yes, it helps me be in shape, even better shape. But that's the short part. I mean, the big part is the fact that I have more of me because of this.
All right, everyone, we're back. We got part 2. John's in a different outfit, I believe. I know I'm in a different outfit because we're at a different day, but we're going to try to pick back up. John had some technical difficulties. Please excuse him. He lives in California. Sometimes they restrict the internet. They give it out to the more unfortunate people on the streets, maybe. They hand out free needles and maybe free internet. And they take it away from people like John. I don't know. But
I love it.
But welcome back. And, look, where we were talking last time, you had went to Japan. You were a professional wrestler. Then you came back. You got into professional bodybuilding. People kind of told you were too old to do that, to start that late in life. And you know, that's all you need is to hold my fucking beer real quick. Watch this. So you went into professional bodybuilding. You competed your first few shows. You did extremely well. How long did you do bodybuilding?
So it's funny enough, if you go back and look at all these different, the bodybuilding, going back to the wrestling, the strongman, they were all in 7-year chunks, funny enough.
Really?
7s. Yeah. And it wasn't planned that way. It just kind of worked out that way. Huh. So basically now I'm a pro bodybuilder. Didn't realize how difficult it was to become a pro bodybuilder so quick. I became a pro at 2 contests, which puts me in a school of like 4 or 5 people. Anyway, so now I'm a pro bodybuilder. So what does a pro bodybuilder do? He opens a gym. Entrepreneur spirit still cranking. So I got a gym now. I'm pro bodybuilder. Check. Bought pro bodybuilding. Check. Owning a gym. Life is good, man. I'm just living my dream, and it's all because that early start where I had to develop those skills. Like I said from the jump, my work ethic and my problem-solving skill set. You take those away, I'm not here, right? So long and short of it, now I'm at the gym. Things are going well. We're servicing all different types of people. Regular people. I helped a couple of kids get into the NFL. I was training other pros, other strongmen, even some pros. And then a new chapter starts to open. So I get a call one day at the gym, and the guy says, "Hey, can you coach me?" And then, of course I can. I'm thinking, where do you live? My mind at this point had only been in a local geographical model for business, right? So I'm thinking, he's like, I live. I'm thinking he lives a couple exits away, right? A town away. He lives in Arkansas. Well, okay, I guess I'm doing this over the phone, right? So, I pull it together. Had a great experience. The dude loved it. And over the course of, I think I worked with him for 3, 4, 5 months. I don't remember exactly. Over that course, these calls kept trickling in. And it's like, hey, can you coach me? Yeah. Where do you? Now I'm kind of, okay, what state do you live in? Now I start to realize there's a question here that I got to figure out, because the people that want me to train them locally, they just show up. The people that are calling, they're not close. So I clearly see what's going on. So I told my wife, I was like, okay, I'm going to have you kind of oversee the staff at the gym. I'm going to just stay in my office. I'm going to lean on this. At the time, I called it phone call coaching. We're talking like, this should have been like 2013, right? Yeah. Of course, social media is there, but it wasn't like it is now. And so, dude, I'm serving people. I'm giving them amazing results. And dude, this business turned itself into a 7-figure business real quick, And so, and the cool part about it is now I'm realizing that I can be very, very selective because it's a worldwide market. Next thing you know, I got people all over in the USA, got them in Canada, got them in the UK and Australia. Those are my 4 markets. So I can be very selective of who I work with, because on a local market, you're kind of stuck with who shows up.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. And so this is great, man. I was like, this is it. So I built this business, and over time, it started off as people looked at me as a, pro bodybuilder, strongman wrestler. They wanted me to get them in great shape. But realistically, now that's morphed into more of a mentoring company, as to where, yes, getting in shape is part of it, but I'm leveling up lives, period, end of story. And now, and this is like my purpose. I realize that I will never retire. I just won't wake up one day, because I love this shit. When I get emails from wives and, that say, I didn't want him to do this. I didn't want him to spend the money, but I'm so thankful that he did, because we have an amazing sex life again. He comes home and he's full of energy. He plays with the kids. It's like life-changing shit. And so it's been an amazing journey, and I realize that this is what I'm here to do. My skill sets, right? Hard work and the problem-solving skill sets really play into this, because people, they look at me and they immediately trust me because they see I work hard, right? Then my problem-solving skill set is all about stripping down to the most simplistic fashion. So I teach people how to do this very complex shit in a very simple way, and it just works really, really well.
So
and now
examples to that, right? Because the people that'll be listening to this, they're going to be business owners. They're going to be home service contractors. Yep. They're busy. A lot of them are working, unfortunately, in their business, not on their business like they really want to be. So, what do you do for these people that say, John, I don't have the time. I can't find the time. I want to do all this stuff. I mean, I know you've heard all these excuses.
Check, baby. Check. I got it.
What do you do? What do you do for these people?
So let's think like this. First off, people, they think that there's this massive training commitment. I need 30 minutes 3 times a week. That's all I need. And what kind? What do you enjoy? People are like, what? Yeah, that's what I need. You like playing one-on-one with your kid? Go play one-on-one with your kid. Give me 3 sessions, 30 minutes at least per week. You're good. So we're going to pick what you enjoy, right? Now, most people that come to me want to put on a little bit of muscle, so most of them will enjoy lifting weights, which is great, because that's one of the easiest ways to help the process. Then the diet. This is the biggest, because everybody's used to counting shit. Everybody's used to tracking shit. Oh, I got this tracker. I got the counter. That's all a waste. It's all a waste. I teach people how to do it based on feel. And here's what I mean. You get this subtle signal that tells you got to take a piss. You just find yourself walking towards the toilet. It's a subconscious reaction. I teach people to do their diets on the same premise. So there's no counting. There's, none of this freaking out over things got to be perfect. There's all sorts of flexibility, and it works like a charm. I can restore energy. I can restore sex drive. I can peel off body fat. I can build muscle. And it is so simple. And when I say simple, it's basically, of course, you're eating, but I even have what I call emergency foods, where you can't get to food, or maybe it just, in an emergency, you thought you could get to your food, but you can't. There's all of these little things that you can do to make it work when it's not perfect, and it still works like a charm.
Okay.
So I've just basically all of this overly complex shit in the fitness industry, I believe most of it is put there so people feel like it's so complex they don't know how to do it. Well, I strip it down to the most simple format, and people are like, this works. I'm like, yes, this works. What I have to teach you, your body speaks to you. Your body speaks a language you don't know. Like the average person knows, I'm fucking starving, and goddamn it, I ate way too much.
Yeah.
Those are body signals. Unfortunately, those are the body signals that make people terribly out of shape. I got to teach you all the shit in the middle. They're subtle signals, but I teach you how to learn them. I teach you how to react to them. Once this happens, it's game over. As adults, we stop pissing in our pants. Well, as adults, we stop overeating too. We just got to be taught to listen to the signals and understand how to do it. Like when I was a kid, I was always pissing my pants. My mom stopped me and said, look, you pee your pants because you wait too long. You wait for the signal that's too big. There's a signal that's smaller before the big one that makes you pee your pants. You got to listen for that. The same premise. So when this whole thing becomes a subconscious reaction, you're happy, you're healthy, you're full of energy, you're sleeping well. I restore sleep. It's a different life, brother.
So what does it look like? Someone that works with you, is there different levels of the coaching or training with you, or
100%. It just depends on what they're looking for. I mean, somebody may just want to have, get in shape and, on a real minor level. That's one thing. Maybe someone wants to get into mindset. That's another thing. I also just recently opened up a peptide company which then basically folds into this, which has been a massive help as well, because a peptide, people misunderstand what a peptide is. A peptide is pre-existing in the body, right? So, perfect example, every human being has a signal, which is a peptide. When we go to sleep, this says, hey, pituitary gland, release some growth hormone so we can get this person healed up, so when he wakes up, he can have a good day. Well, as we get older, these signals, they get dull. So we can send a new signal in, or a stronger signal, saying, hey, pituitary, release that growth hormone the way you did when you were 25. And so it's almost like peptides are almost like reprogramming the body to operate the way it did when it was at its prime. Now you add that on top of what I'm teaching, dude, lights out. And not everybody has to use peptides. That's not at all what I'm saying. It's just a whole nother way to get someone up to speed really, really quickly.
What do you think, out of all the people you've worked with and coached, I mean, like what are some of the most common things that you hear that people, these middle-aged men are struggling with, that are
100%
successful in certain areas of their life, but obviously failing in others?
Well, usually they're going to come down, I don't have time, right? And my response to that is, you didn't have time for the method you were trying to employ. I agree. You have the time, because we can make something like this work in the cracks of your life very, very simply. So generally speaking, when someone feels they don't have the time, it's because they've been exposed to a method that's not really designed for their lifestyle. The next thing is, you get people that come, they've got these cravings. They have a hard time not eating the shit that they're not supposed to. That's something that, I hear as well. You get people that they just don't have the energy. They don't have the motivation. Hear this also. I mean, I can restore someone's energy inside of a week. With that energy, then comes the want to do something. Like, someone comes to me and they're dead dog tired. I'm not even going to ask you to do any sort of activity till your energy restores. You're going to come home from work and go, shit, man, that couch doesn't look so sweet anymore. Let's take the kids for some ice cream. You're going to want to do shit. Well, once you want to do shit, then we'll ask you to spool some exercise in there. But again, think of it like this. When a lifestyle is really what I like to call it, rather than a program, because a program is a piece of a lifestyle, is based upon interest. When you have interest doing the things that give you a better life, it's very easy to do them. So break it down again. I simplify shit. When I create a way of life for somebody and they have interest in executing it, it's very easy for them.
Right.
It's when someone has no interest in what they're being asked to do, it's guaranteed to fail. It's just a matter of time.
I mean, I feel like it would be, I'm sure you've went through some difficult times, probably especially in your early coaching days, because the little bit of time I've gotten to know you, you're a very serious, dedicated, focused. What I fucking say I'm going to do. I get shit done, right? You've done it your whole life. You've never worked for anyone else ever. You've never had a job. You've always been your own boss. So like when you work with these, quote unquote successful people that are fat and out of shape, and they're sitting there, I just don't have time, John. I don't know what to do. And then it's like, man, it's gotta be hard for you to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? How about I slap the shit out of you and we get your ass in the gym?
Well, but here's the thing. A successful person also understands they've found success in other parts of their life. So when they say that, I don't have time, I don't have this, I don't have that, I'll say, look, can we agree that what you did in the past, you didn't have time for? Yes. So it's very easy to reason with a successful person. It's just some coaches are like, I mean, granted, I'm this way. Go, go, go. I'm going to say I'm going to do it. Boom, boom, boom. Not everybody's like me, and I understand that. But again, when you can lead a horse to water with interest. He's interested in going to the water. If he's not interested in the water, you're not going to get that son of a bitch there. So I lead with interest, and because people come to me because they're interested in making a change. And ultimately, and many of them think that they're going to have to like do a bunch of shit they don't want to do. And sometimes there are little periods where they have to get out of the gate. But I guess when it comes down to it is a successful person understands what it took to create success. So I can reason with them. I can help them understand what they're doing wasn't for them. I can help them understand that when they're interested in doing what I ask them to do, it's going to be much easier for them. So it's really kind of a shift in mentality, a shift in mindset. And the mindset shift is what makes it work. I'm not going to take what I do and start jamming it down people's throats and expect it's going to work. And that's what most coaches do.
So how does everyone find you?
So the easiest way to get me, we've got social media everywhere, but Instagram is the place where I will be every day. I always am in Instagram. I love to connect with my people. My name is spelled differently. So it's first and last name. So Jon, first name, last name, Andersen. I'm Nordic. So the handle is at the Jon Andersen. Yeah, you just drop in there and say that you heard me on this killer podcast with my boy, Jonathan Bannister, and yeah, we'll have some fun.
I mean, would you say most of the people you work with are they business owners or executives? I mean, what is your?
It's, I get all walks of life. I mean, those are the ones that are going to be more in they're usually going to want to have, how's a better way to put it? The guys that the executives and the higher end business people, they want complete service. They want the mentality shift. They want to be restructured. They want a lifestyle with interest so that it becomes very, very automatic. They understand how valuable that is. Then there's some people, and they've never really found success, and they're 9-to-5ers and they got a 3-hour chunk of time that they need to burn. So they're happy to just kind of do what they're doing and have some new tasks to execute. So I serve everybody, but on that level, I mean, I only have so much space. So I always reserve my space for the people that are more like myself, that success-driven person who wants to level up. Because it's pretty crazy when you find a most successful people are successful one area of their life. My thing is, let's be successful in all areas of your life. Successful with your business, successful with your body, successful with your parenting, successful as a husband, success everywhere. And that's the guy right there that when he walks into a room, people can just tell something's different.
I love it. What is success to you, Jon?
Great question. In many cases, I'll have someone define their success, their definition to me. If I'm having a hard time understanding, sometimes I'll have them fill out questionnaires, but I'm still having a hard time really understanding exactly the root of what I'm doing. So defining success is really helpful. My definition, financially free, so I can do what I want to do.
Okay.
I want to have basically choices. I want many choices. I want amazing relationships with my kids and my wife. And I want to have those same amazing relationships with my friends. Now, keep in mind when I say friends, there's a select few. There are a few friends and there are lots of acquaintances, right? That's inner circle is the ones that I'm most concerned with. And I want to make sure that I'm living my life in a way where I am leaving a positive mark or influence or whatever you want to call it on this place, this world, and everyone that I come in contact with.
You have a major in theology. What prompted that?
Good question. Funny story. I have actually a major in theology, and I claim a minor in philosophy, but I'm one credit shy.
Okay.
And the philosophy probably helped me. Well, they both did because they fit hand in hand. But I was, remember my start. School was not easy for me. And I was there, just kind of doing the best I could to get by. And I was getting by with school, and I was having a hell of a time lifting weights and chasing girls. Right. And it was at the beginning of the 4th year. And keep in mind, I was going for 5 years, so I had 2 years left. My counselor called me. His name was Father Chaplin. I remember this conversation vividly. He says, you can't start this year without declaring a major. What are you going to do? Oh, man, Father, I wasn't ready to answer this question. He said, what am I closest to? He goes, good question. He goes, I'll call you back tomorrow at the same time. So he calls me back. He says, well, if we do this right, you'll graduate right on time with your 5-year plan, and you'll have a major in theology and a minor in philosophy. I don't remember how I ended up 1 credit shy, but somehow that happened.
Have you done anything with that major?
Brother, my philosophy of life is a complete demonstration of my education. It's philosophy. People, let's talk about philosophers. Listen, philosophy is about being the best version of you. It's about living a life that is not getting caught up in all the noise and all the shit. I mean, listen to the Stoics. Listen to some of the shit that Marcus Aurelius said. It makes so much sense. And that shit applies in today's life. So think of philosophy as don't think of philosophy. Think of what is your philosophy of life.
Right.
Because you really studying something, if you don't apply it, what's the difference? And obviously the philosophy and theology, they kind of very, very similar because, if you boil down all the religions, it's about, really what it comes down to is about being a good person and being good to others. And then, the philosophy and the philosophers and this, that, and the other, it's about, okay, let's understand life so we can be a better version of ourselves. And I just took this whole thing, and it's for me, my education gave me a thought process. And I came into that education with a different thought process already. But it really, really helped me develop my thought process being very different. And I took what I learned, and I created my philosophy of life. And my philosophy of life has served me well, my brother.
I love it. You got a super cool story. I mean, you know that, right? I mean, but
yeah.
You created that story. So
yeah. And if you had to take one thing away, okay, if I could say one thing, if listeners could do, would get them moving down a track for their own journey, overcoming, similar shit, similar hurdles, and doing great things. And it would be stop giving a shit what other people think. Because when you care what other people think, it alters your decisions. If you're making decisions based on what other people think and versus what you want, your life will not be where you want it to be. Period.
I know you're a big mindset guy and planning strategy type person. So in what you just said there, do you suggest, that someone has their goals and their plan laid out and that every decision they make should be based off of that or off of something that they can project where they're trying to go and not off of what other people think or, whatever? Yeah. I mean, I think if you just say what they want, right? I mean, a lot of times what we want and what we need or what we're trying to aspire towards, whatever may be different. Our wants and needs can kind of get blurred from time to time, right? But I mean, is it a goal that is, whether it's the vision board or you're just 12 month, 6 month, 5-year goals laid out, but your decisions should be based upon something more solid?
Well, I like to keep it even more simple than that.
Okay.
Right. So, what you want to do, think in the short term, work on what you want. Like today, when we win today, you win your morning, you win the day. You win the day, that can turn to a good week. A good week turns into a good month. Good month turns into a good year. A good year can change your life. So here's the thing. Don't give a shit what people say, but use them as a barometer. You want them talking smack. If they're not talking, you're doing the same dumb shit they're doing.
Yep.
So the more they talk, that tells you that I always make the joke, when they're talking smack, you know you're on the right track. And the way my whole life is if somebody is not talking poorly about me, I'm falling off the mark.
Right.
And my goals are usually big enough that people think I'm crazy. If people understand my goals, I'm off the mark.
How old
So
are you
I think 53. So I think when it comes down to it, I think the whole thing of vision board plan, have that big stretch goal, right? But what you gotta focus on today. You got to win your daily battle. You win your daily battle, you will win the war of reaching that stretch goal. Keep it simple. People get all caught up in a bunch of shit. Got caught up looking down the fucking road. When you're looking at the finish line, you know what you're not looking at? What you got to do right now.
Yeah. That's well said. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think it's important to have those big goals, like you said. Those big goals aren't going to happen overnight, especially if you set them big enough. They're not supposed to, but you gotta break it down in much smaller pieces, and you do have to win every day, because if you can't win daily, you're definitely not going to win the long-term race.
100%. 100%. And that's that simplicity. That's boiling things into the simplest fashion, because when it's simple, it's easier. When it's easier, you'll execute. If you're executing, you're going to be fine.
So you told people how to reach you on Instagram. How do they reach you with the peptide company?
So the simplest way, we go to my Instagram. Okay. And basically what you can do there is you can even send a message about the peptide company into the DMs. And, we'll get your questions answered there. But on my Instagram, there's that link where you can go down and drop down, and you can see the different things that I'm doing. Okay. So you'll see my actual peptide company, but then you'll also see what I've created called Peptide University, which is a community where people can go and learn about peptides, because there's so much to it. The more information you can gain about the topic, the better off you're going to be. So all you got to figure like this: you get to that Instagram page and you send a DM, you're going to be in good shape.
Sweet. All right. Well, we're getting to the end of the show where I go through rapid fire questions. So I'm going to ask Jon some questions, and he's going to shoot from the hip, and hopefully we don't make him overthink too much. So you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, I think this one's going to be pretty easy. Childhood hero?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I love it. I know where you live. So beach or mountains?
Beach. But I like them both.
I know.
I got them both. I got a cabin in Tahoe, and I'm at my lake house. There's a lake 40 feet just to my left.
I love it. Famous person that you would invite to dinner. They can be dead or alive.
Oh, that's a doozy right there. I would honestly go with Arnold. I wouldn't have said this 20 years ago, but I'll say it now. I'll go with Arnold again.
Really?
Because he's become like he's trying to change the world now. And so the effort that he's putting into helping people become better, obviously it seems like his purpose is to help, which aligns with mine. And he's doing it at a much bigger scale. So I would love to talk to him about what he does.
We need to make that happen, right?
Yeah, I actually did some charity work with him, and it was a repetitive thing every year. And COVID hit, and that charity event kind of went to the wayside. But yeah, for sure.
What's the most adventurous thing you've ever done?
I went and wrestled in North Korea. not south, north.
Dang.
Yeah, I got one of my passports. I've traveled so much. I have 3 retired passports. They've all filled up with stamps. One of them has got a stamp from North Korea.
That's interesting. That's super cool. Something surprising that people may not know about you.
Well, normally it would be my education. But I would say beyond that, which I haven't mentioned in the show, is I am a fucking mama's boy to the core. Love my mama.
If you had to make a sudden career change today, what would you do?
I would just be pivoting into helping people in some other venue, if you will. Because the helping people is not changing.
Right.
I don't know if I could escape it if I tried.
I love it. Where do you think that came from? Because you were trying to help yourself just get by.
Yeah. Because you know because that's it. I mean, I've solved my own problems, and I solved my own problems so well, way beyond what I was. As a fat little boy, I didn't know how to dream as big as my life became. I dreamed about doing one of the 3 athletic careers I had. Never figured I would be well off financially. Never figured that I would be, some form of leader. None of this stuff, I didn't know how to dream that big. And so as people see what I've done for myself, especially when they understand where I started, my disabilities, if you will, which are actually my blessings. When I start to help people do things that they've never done before, it's like fucking crack, dude.
Yeah.
You just want more.
I love it. All right. And the final question is, does Jon believe in aliens?
I don't listen. Yes, I believe, but I would get rid of the word alien because I think alien has a negative connotation amongst most people.
Okay.
Do I believe that there's life outside of what we know? I would guarantee it.
Yeah.
Do I think that this life is going to come here to harvest us like everybody thinks when they use the word alien? No, I don't believe that. I think if they wanted to do that, they would have done that a long time ago. I think for people to think that we're the only ones in the universe is ridiculous. So yes, I believe 100%.
Well, there you go, folks. Jon Andersen, rapid fire. You reach him at the Jon Andersen, JONANDERSEN. Hit him up, DM him. If you are struggling, you want to be healthier, you want to have a better mindset, you want to have more energy, you want to fucking play with your kids the way that you should be able to without being out of breath and dying, you should reach out to Jon and let him coach you and hopefully, maybe get into the shape that he's in, right? 53 years old and looks like a complete beast. So, dude, thank you, my friend, for coming on. And I just, the impact that you're making it's quite awesome to see.
Well, I appreciate you, my brother. And hopefully we made an impact for your viewers and your listeners, and that's what it's all about.
100%. I'll have you back.
Absolutely, brother.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you.